You are locked on to Jyneration Nation. I'm Jyn Yates here at LRS102.com, The Walrus, and I am joined by the awesome Natalie Felker. How are you doing, Nat?
Hey, I'm great. How are you, Jen?
I'm fantastic. I call you Nat because it's short.
That's fine. You can call me Nat.
Us young ones, we like to shorten things
Sure.
days.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I've been called a lot of things. Nat's totally fine.
Me too. we won't say those in low because we'll probably have to put money in the swear jar.
I'll be broke before the show's over.
Yeah, me too. We'll be broke before the first segment's over. If I was having to talk about that. Anyway, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm just sweating my sweating my clothes off here.
I know we're working on the AC unit. We've got a fan blowing right at you.
Oh, I mean, it's still, a good 30 degrees cooler in here than it is outside.
I know. What is going on? We talked about this yesterday with LaVon. She was like, I don't remember it ever being really this humid.
I know. It's insane. That was a really nice spring we had for a few days.
Yeah, that's kind of
a really cool week.
Louisville kind of rolls that way. You could have all four seasons in one day. You just don't know what's going to happen. And every time I leave my house and I'm like, oh, I should wear shorts today and I should wear this, and then I get outside and then, maybe a couple hours later it's 50 degrees and then I'm like, I'm freezing. I need a
sweatshirt. You got to have layers all the time.
I know.
It's crazy.
You got to have those in your car. Well, you've been in Louisville for a long time. We're going to talk about your career in music because I love to feature female artists, and I got to work with you a couple years ago and met you and thought you were awesome. And then I kind of watched your career. You've been doing a lot of original music. You love to write your own stuff. I've had a lot of cover band artists in, a lot of theater cats, but I love to feature the original artists because that's what LRS used to do back in the day. We broke all the original artists, and we're still trying to break original rock and roll bands and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you and LRS go back? I mean, did you know that LRS existed when you moved to town? Did you ever listen to the station, anything like that?
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Yeah. Because, we've been around since 1964.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, when Dark Side of the Moon came out, LRS is breaking that,
Yeah.
And I had a cat in here, Greg Martin, at the lead guitarist of the Kentucky Headhunters, and he said he'd been listening to it since, the 60s,
Yeah.
So it's really cool to have you in the studio.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about what you do musically. You're in a original band.
Yep,
right?
I play in a band called the Fervor,
right?
And I write songs and sing and play keys, and sometimes I play guitar.
Yeah.
My husband Ben is also in the band. He's the main guitar player.
Yeah,
and he also writes songs. And we've been doing it. This is the 14th year we've been doing it.
Wow, in the same band?
I mean, in the band.
Together, yeah.
We've been doing it longer than that, but
no kidding. Because I remember when I moved to town. Shortly after I moved to town, I remember seeing your band name around, and I was playing the original music circuit as well because I really focused on more original music than covers up until probably the last 5 years.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I was only doing the covers for money, basically.
Yeah, isn't that
Yeah.
mainly? I mean, it's a lot of fun to do it, for sure.
It is fun.
But
yeah,
original music nobody wants to pay for that.
Right, well, right. Nobody really wants to pay for it, and not only that, but it seems like, I miss the creative aspect, and that's why I was in music. I really love the creative aspect of it. Being able to write what I've lived through to get it out. That's therapy to me.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I write songs,
exactly.
For sure. It's so much cheaper than therapy.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, my therapist is very expensive.
Girl, you got to give me her number.
I know. I totally will. And you would love her. She's amazing. She kind of changed my life. In fact, I have a funny story to tell you, and it ties into music. When I started going to therapy, she told me, the first thing she said to me was, you need to go to this place called Michigan Women's Music Festival, and you need to heal. And then she said, and you need to meet this lady named Ubaka Hill, who's an African female drummer. And I was like, okay. I didn't know. At the time, I did not know what Michigan Women's Music Festival was, nor did I know Ubaka Hill. About 5 years later, I find myself being hired to play Michigan Women's Music Festival as the house drummer. And when they pull me onto the artist place to get settled in and check in and all that stuff. An African lady came up to me, held out her hand, and said, "Nice to meet you. I'm Ubaka Hill." And I was like,
wow.
"Whoa, this is really strange," because
I'm
I
here
was
to
like,
help you heal.
my therapist told me to be here like 5 years ago, and she goes, "Well, welcome." And then I played on the Wednesday night. I think it was Wednesday night, or maybe I was playing on Thursday night, and Wednesday night I was out in the crowd just kind of taking it all in. And up walks my therapist from Louisville in Michigan. And she was
Wow.
like, "I saw you play, and I'm so proud." And it was just a magical moment.
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's weird you
all
told
the
me to be
worlds
here."
colliding. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when I met Beverly McClellan, and that's when I networked with all these awesome female
Yeah.
musicians all over the country. So it was really awesome.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so I'll give you her number because she's very magical. And she helped me a lot.
I could use some magic.
Yeah. Do you ever find writing originals that people around town that know you and know your story are like, "Yeah, you shouldn't write about that"? Do you ever get that? Because I get that a lot.
No, I get people more thinking because I'm married and I'm in a band with my husband. Everybody, well, not everybody, but I get a lot of questions about that, and people think that our songs are about each other, which,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We have other interests.
Right. Well, yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so. Yeah, I would think that would be hard. I think I've only ever once been in a band with, a partner only once, and it was a complete disaster. So I think
Yeah, it's
after
not a good
that,
idea for everybody.
yeah,
For sure.
So I bet you do have to work like extra hard. I mean, do you find you have to work extra hard?
Well, we were BFFs for a couple of years before we started dating, and we played music casually with friends. We met at IU.
Okay.
And we had a bunch of musician friends, and we would just like get together on the weekends and swap instruments and make stuff up on the spot.
Well, kudos to you, because I would think now I will say this. I have played in a lot of bands with partners. A band with Marion Dries, and she was married to her husband, John, who was the bass player, and that worked great. There have been other bands where I played in where, the person had a partner in the band. But me, myself, it just seemed to be not good. Because if you break up, I mean, there goes the band.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But people like Pat Benatar, right? Isn't she in a band with her husband? I mean, basically, he tours with her, Neil, like, isn't his name Neil? Everywhere she goes. So it seems to work for some people.
It can, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But we've been together 20 years.
Yeah.
So
congrats. There's my hand claps.
Thanks.
I need that hand clap
This
button.
this past month was our 15th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So we dated for 5 years. We wanted to make sure it was really going to work out.
Well, behind the scenes, off the record, you've got to give me tips, because I can't even keep a relationship for a day, much less a 15, 20 year.
I think, you got to find somebody you can be good friends with too.
Yeah. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. It just always seems to be in disaster. But I've always been focused on my career, and maybe that's the problem, Or,
I don't know. I don't know that being focused on your career is a problem.
it shouldn't be, you would think. I don't know.
No.
Maybe I'm just
if
crazy.
your relationship is preventing you from having a career or doing the things that you want to do, that's a problem.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree. And you also have a beautiful little daughter.
We do.
Which I love her name, because my great-grandmother's name was Stella.
Yep, her name's Stella.
And your daughter's name's Stella. And how old is Stella now?
Stella is 7.
Okay.
And
how is 7-year-old life?
Oh, man, it's so awesome. Every day, she teaches me so much, and she's so smart and really keeps me on my toes. I have to watch everything I say and do.
Oh, I bet, because she's a little sponge right now.
Oh, she is, and she repeats everything.
What is there any great story about something she's repeated that you've said that you were just like mortified by?
Oh yeah, it was so funny. So my mom was helping my cousin out with her son's wedding. So this would be my second cousin, right? And I was talking to him before the wedding, and I was like, "Man, my mom is so much more involved in your wedding than she ever was in mine." And then my mom walks up, and Stella's like, "Let me tell you what they just said." And then my mom was like, "Well, she's kind of right."
You know what, kids? I love kids. I teach kids, and you do have to have a sense of humor when you're teaching kids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you do have to watch what you say, because they repeat that back.
Oh, I know. I drove by the protesters down there outside the women's clinic.
Yeah.
And I just, accidentally my middle finger pops up. I just like, it's like a magnet. And it happened before I could even realize what I was doing. Then I had to be, I had to backtrack on that.
Right.
That was not classy, kids. Don't do that.
Right.
But they just piss me off.
They frustrate me too.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what happened with Ben the other day, but we'll have to talk about that off air.
Off record? Yeah, okay, cool. We'll talk about that off record. The best stuff happens off record. Anyway. Oh, that's amazing. Well, I was going to say, the kids that I teach, I just make sure and pump them full of knowledge. Like, okay, kids, 50 ways to leave your lover is a linear beat, and linear means this, and da-da-da-da-da. And then, the dad will come in and went, my kid just educated me on what a linear groove was, who the drummer for 50 Ways, because they are sponges.
They are little sponges.
And they will
it's
repeat
crazy.
back everything you say.
Yeah, I know, which is great because, being over 40 and especially having given birth, I have no memory.
Yeah, same.
So,
well, I have no memory and I have not given birth. So
yeah, all the time I'm just like, hey, where did mommy put her keys?
And then she'll remember.
She knows my spots.
That's amazing. That is awesome. So you've got Ben and you've got Stella, and you guys are a happy little family here in Louisville, Kentucky. Do you find that you're going to stay in Louisville, or are you looking?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're pretty settled here. My family's around here.
Cool.
I like being able to afford to live.
Yeah,
I think
same.
Louisville's a pretty, creative town, which
It
I really like.
Is.
And
it really is. Yeah,
we got a great music scene here, and so I'm proud to be here.
Cool. And you brought in so much vinyl today, which I'm excited because I rarely get to spin wax, but we're going to spin some wax today.
Sweet. Victory may not be ours, but that's all right. The good news is that anything you can get on vinyl, you can pretty much find digitally.
We're actually going to start it this way then, with some Hall & Oates.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's Man-Eater on LRS102.com. The Walrus. Stay tuned. I have Natalie Felker in the studios. It's the Rolling Stones. You're locked onto LRS102.com. The Walrus. You're on Jyneration Nation. Natalie, what do you think about the name Jyneration Nation?
I was actually going to suggest that to you when you put out.
Was you really?
I really seriously was.
That.
And then I was like, oh, no, nobody will probably like that. And then you went with the name, and I loved it. Yeah. I thought it was too obvious.
A couple people recommended it, and I was like, man, I kind of love that. You know what I mean?
I love it.
And
I think it's really cool.
AJ McKay had posted Jyneration Nation, and he's a professional DJ of many years. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was really cool. And I was like, well, I'm going to go with a pro suggestion. So I love that you had the idea, too. It's very cool. Tell me about that Tumbling Dice track that we just listened to. You said it was your favorite drum part or something.
Well, I love that record so much, and I just love that part at the end when the drums come back in. Yeah. That little lick that he
Charlie
does.
Watts is
Charlie's
amazing.
So good.
Yeah,
and he's just barely moves. He
really does. He's very expressionless when he plays. But there's a famous lick called the Charlie Watts that if you're a drummer you have to know, and that's he never hits his hi-hat when he hits his snare drum. So he always does 1 and 2, and on 2 he lifts his hand up and then comes back and on the hand of 2, which is a very famous thing called the Charlie Watts.
Yeah.
So it's really awesome. Yeah, and
he's so great.
You were telling me that Mick Jagger is really an interesting follow on Instagram.
Oh yeah, man. Well, he had been in the hospital, I think, for a heart thing or something.
Yeah.
And a couple weeks after that, he was on Instagram. He'd shown part of his rehearsals. Yeah. His dance rehearsals.
Yeah.
He is incredible. I mean, I've seen them live, and he's incredible anyways, but he is really a good dancer.
Yeah. Have you ever...
he's in his 70s, and he's got moves. He's got moves like Jagger.
He really does have moves like Jagger. Ha, ha, ha.
Thanks,
great.
I'll be here all week.
Yeah. You do make me laugh. I was going to say, I forget how many miles it is that he technically goes through in his dance routine while he's on stage with the Stones, but it's a lot. It's 15 miles or something like that he burns off.
I think his Instagram's cool for that reason, because every now and then he posts these little videos of him rehearsing.
I'm gonna go add him on the Instagram, because I follow everybody on Instagram. I try. I mean, celebrities are so interesting to me to follow on Instagram. Not that I care that they're celebrities, but I follow Natalie Maines at the Dixie Chicks, and she's always got these hilarious, things go. She's really funny. Lizzo is another big favorite of mine.
I love Lizzo, yeah.
I forget
Lizzo.
Who all I follow, but
you
I
can
follow
tell
a ton.
who's running their own account.
Yeah.
and
exactly.
who's not running their own
yeah.
account.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I like I like the things that remind us of our own humanity, that we're all connected in that way.
Well, and I tell you what, who else I'm in love with these days is that Halsey chick. Halsey, have you seen her? Oh my gosh.
Well, not on Instagram, but
she's a good follow on Instagram.
Yeah. Singer, right?
Yeah, she's a singer, and I think she's still developing her vocals. But what I love about her is she's not only a performance artist, but she draws and does all this art stuff. And she's got a little macabre to her, a little darkness about her.
I think you posted about her on Facebook, and then
I
I went and
always
checked
do.
her
I'm
out.
like, drool.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a really cool up-and-coming artist, though.
Yeah.
Totally opposite from the Lizzo character, but still in the pop music world. But she actually does play guitar and a couple other instruments, and she writes all of her own stuff, which is what I love.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. I'm all for any artist who will write their own stuff, because it's so hard to do that today. And if you look at a Beyonce, she's got like 50 writers writing her stuff. But if you look at like a Halsey or another kind of character like that, they usually just write their own stuff. It's just like them and one other writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it takes a certain kind of artist, I feel like, to write their own stuff. Not everybody can really do that. It's a very small percentage that can do it and do it well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I always say, not that I'm dogging on cover bands, because I love cover bands, and we're going to talk about the one that you're working in right now.
Yeah.
But, every song can teach you something musically that you don't know before. And it's good to be familiar with music and older stuff. But, I have played Jimi Hendrix until I could care less to play any more Jimi Hendrix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, everybody covers all along the Watchtower.
Yeah.
Lots of people cover Hey Joe, and I've played those every night for years almost, it seems, where I'm just worn out on them.
Yeah.
So for me, I love to just go, oh, well, I went through this horrible relationship, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to write about it and just get it out. Because like we were talking about, it's therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So do you find, where do you draw inspiration from when you write original stuff?
Oh, man. Well, I have used music, I would say earlier you were asking me what people might have to say to me about the songs that I write.
Yeah.
And one thing that came to mind was how when my parents have listened to my original music, they're like, man, why are you so sad? And I'm like, weren't you guys there?
Yeah.
But
that's always it's nerve-wracking when your parents are listening to your stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. But I think for me, it's definitely helped process anxiety and depression, and just the chaos of those thoughts. It can really make me feel more grounded, and singing helps a lot with that.
Absolutely.
Probably just the breathing aspect of it.
Yeah.
It's very meditative.
Yeah.
So I write a lot to process, my feelings about things. It's why my band's called The Fervor.
Right. I love that.
Got some very big feelings that, that's where that all came out of.
Yeah, I think that just goes along with being a true artist. I mean, if you're a true artist, you have to have an explosive amount of feelings, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
everybody has always told me that I'm overly dramatic, but I'm like, really, I'm just
That's
overly
just me.
sensitive. Yeah, I'm very sensitive about, and I'm very emotional about things, but I don't know how to let it out in the main world. So therefore, I try to let it out behind the scenes when I'm playing or writing music.
I also think just when you're a woman and you have a big personality and you're demonstrative like we can be, people think that you're angry about things and God forbid women have any anger.
Yeah. Oh, God forbid.
God forbid.
You know what? I get that more than anything else. I get, oh, you're very angry. And I'm like, no, I'm not really angry. I get over stuff very easily.
Yeah, my whole life, man.
I do not stand for certain things. And for example, one thing that really ticks me off is when a man is coming at me and I'm telling them I am not interested and they continue to pursue it.
Yeah.
If they do that 2 or 3 times after I've said, please don't do that again, then I start to get pissy. And then I start to get aggressive. Maybe not aggressive where I'm going to punch somebody, but aggressive as in my speech.
Right.
And then they're all like, whoa, you're a B, you know, or
Yeah,
whatever. And I'm
right.
like, no, I'm not. I asked you 3 times not to do that. You better respect me. So when I don't
And
get
you asked.
respected,
You
right,
asked. You could have
exactly.
you didn't even have to ask. You
Correct.
could have just been like,
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that, you know, go along with that. But anytime I'm very upset and and it's funny to watch the process, and I don't know if you've done this, but with all the songs you've written throughout your life until the current, have you ever gone back and was like, wow, my 20s were really angry? Because, you know, my 20s were all like punk, angst rock, like
Yeah.
chick women, you know, back in the 90s. I mean, I loved all the chick rockers that were so angry, like the Alanis Morissettes and Tracy Bonham wrote the Mother, you know, and Kay's Choice and those,
Yeah.
you know, they were writing some really like raw kind of stuff back then. Lita Ford, all of them, you know, from Joan Jett on. And then in my 30s, the music got like lighter and more fun. And then I did the Hillbilly Swagger Project, and it's all hilarious, fun stuff,
Right.
dance music, you
Yeah.
know. And last year I had a horrible bout, so most everything I wrote last year was very sad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny to watch and be like, oh, yeah. It's kind of weird, the progression. You can see
Oh.
your emotions right through all the original stuff. you
Totally.
wrote. Yeah.
I just played. Have you heard of Cowgirl Camp?
Yes, I have, but tell us about it.
So Cowgirl Camp is this super cool event at Little Wing Hollow in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, where this awesome, amazing artist woman named Anessa Earhart throws this weekend-long event. It's geared towards women, and there's all kinds of like workshops and things, and it's like kind of survival geared workshops. And they always bring in a musician, one for Friday night, one for Saturday night. And I had the honor of doing it this year, and it was just a few weeks ago. And I had to play for an hour, which.
Cool.
Our
That's a long
full
time.
band,
Yeah.
our full band doesn't hardly ever play.
Yeah,
for
usually
an
it's
hour.
like a 45-minute set or something like that. Yeah.
And I was having to play, you know, by myself for an hour. And my, you know, guitar skills, nobody wants to listen to me play guitar for an hour, like maybe 10 minutes.
Right.
But, so, you know, that was a little challenging. So I had to bring my little MIDI controller, and it was they don't have, there's no electricity.
What?
Yeah. So I was playing off of like a battery
So
powered.
it's straight up acoustic?
Well, no, it was, they rent a battery powered PA.
Oh, like a generator or with an inverter or something?
It's just
yeah.
a battery power. You can recharge it,
Okay.
you know? And so
That's
I
fascinating to me.
ran my MIDI off of my laptop, you know, and did that. But anyways, I had to go back and learn a whole bunch of my old material. I played a bunch of covers too. I did some that we did together at 21C that time.
Oh, cool. I love that
I played
21C.
Whiskey and Wild Women.
Oh,
Cigarettes,
I love,
Whiskey and Wild Women.
Was that Tom T. Hall? Remind me. What's it? Buck Owens.
But
Is it Buck Owens?
I think Buck Owens does it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a couple different covers
I
of it.
loved
I think.
that cover song.
Yeah, I did too. That was a
21C
lot of fun.
gig was a lot of fun.
It was so
yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. But anyways, yes, I had to go back and learn a whole bunch of songs, and it's been the first time I'd listened to those records in a really long time. Because, you know, contrary to what people think, you don't just sit around listening
Listen to your own stuff.
Yeah, it's
right?
like once it's out there, you know.
You know, the first time I realized that I was influential was when I'd put out Bougie, which is my diss track to an ex who
Right.
kept saying they weren't bougie when they actually were bougie. And for those of you that don't know what bougie means, it means, you know, what?
The bourgeoisie.
Bourgeoisie, yes, very uppity, very money based. That whole, you know, you're not Kentucky simple, as I call it. Like, Kentucky simple is very basic. You don't need a whole lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But bougie is the complete opposite of
Right.
that. So anyway, I put that out, and I was going to teach a kid drum lessons, and I came in, and the kid is like singing my own lyrics to me.
Wow.
And he was like,
Did
I
that
watched
just
your
blow
YouTube.
your
It
mind?
did blow my mind, because I was like, whoa, maybe I should be careful with what I say in my music. You know?
Yeah, I know. I started to think about that a lot more once I had Stella.
I bet.
For sure.
Yeah, because I don't think about that when I'm sitting down to write. I'm just
No.
writing it to get it out. But when you have a
and you
kid
should-
singing your own stuff to you, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, but you should still feel free to express yourself as you need to, because
Yeah.
it doesn't all need to be for kids. You know what
I
I mean?
agree. I agree.
Their
And they get
parents
the-
can tell them not to listen to that.
Correct. And that's what I always say about original music. If people don't like it, well, then they don't have to listen. They
Yeah.
get the choice to listen.
Right.
So if you don't like it, don't listen. Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We all have choices.
Yes.
That's
and,
what I say as a parent all the time. We've got choices here.
Right. I love that. We all have choices. I think it's fascinating you have a kid because I've never had a child, but I always wanted one. So I was like,
Oh,
it'd
man,
be really
I think you'd make a
interesting.
great parent.
I think I would too.
You seem so great with kids,
I
especially
love
the kids that
kids.
you teach. And
Yeah. You know what's funny is I dropped out of music school basically because I didn't want to be a music teacher.
And now look at you.
I know. And then by the fate of God, it's just like, here I am teaching kids. And I never thought I'd have the patience until I tried it. And then I was like, wow, I've got a lot of patience.
Yeah. Being involved with Girls Rock. Definitely.
Tell us about that because I love Girls Rock. We got a big tie-in with that because She Castle is actually raising money for Girls Rock.
I saw
Louisville.
that. That's so radical
Yes,
that you all are
is.
doing that.
Yes.
Well, Girls Rock Camp, Girls Rock Louisville, there's Girls Rocks all around the nation.
Right.
And Carrie Newmeyer and a bunch of women started, a bunch of rockers in town started Girls Rock Louisville.
That's
I think
so
maybe
cool.
2000. Well, I can't remember. It was Louisville Outskirts Festival was what they were doing in the beginning, and they had Outskirts Rock Shops, and then out of that came the Girls Rock Camp. Yeah. So I was involved with that for a few years, and I still try to I haven't been able to do the actual camp the last few years because of childcare and all of that.
Yeah.
But when I did do it, I taught keys, and that was I was really nervous. That was kind of my first teaching experience, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Plus it's like it's a week-long camp,
right.
So you're giving them lessons every day, and then they're forming bands, right. And then at the end of the week there's a showcase, and they write a song. They work on a song all week, and then they perform that song.
That they get to write a song.
It's so
and name their
amazing.
bands and make their logos. I mean, Selena was telling me because Selena Felicia, who's also involved in Girls Rock Louisville, is playing bass with me for the She Castle thing, which is raising money for Girls Rock Louisville. So it all kind of is this big circle of awesome women, based projects. But that, as she was telling me about that, and I got to meet Carrie last Saturday for the first time.
What? That's the first time you've met Carrie?
Yes, and here's what's even funnier about that is when I moved to Louisville in early 2000s, I started renting this house where Atherton High School is off of Emerson Avenue. And my landlord was Sina Jeter Naslin, who is a very famous author and writer who wrote her bestseller in the room I was living in, which was really cool. It was called Ahab's Wife, and it was a takeoff of that whole story. But anyway, she was our Kentucky Poet Laureate. And she also was down at Spalding at the time. I don't know where she is now, but she taught at Center College and all these she was a brilliant woman. But she kept telling me, because I was a musician, she goes, you have to meet this chick, Carrie Newmeyer. You have to meet this chick, Carrie Newmeyer. This was early 2000s.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this chick? And she was like, she's in this original band. I think is it Short Story Man? Or
it's Second Story Man.
Second Story Man.
Second Story Man, yep. They've been a band for 20 years now.
Well, from early 2000s for sure, yeah. So my landlord's telling me this. I never get to meet her until last Saturday.
Wow,
and when I did meet her,
amazing.
I said, I think we have a mutual friend, Sina Jeter Naslin. And then she said, yes, her parents are really close with mine. And I said, she told me 20 years ago to meet you, and I'm just now getting to meet you.
Wow.
Yeah, and then come
Isn't
to find
that
out,
crazy how
she
Louisville-
started Girls Rock Louisville.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy how Louisville's this small town where you can run into people all the time or you can never see them?
I know, it's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
I know, and everybody just cycles back around.
Yeah.
And what's weird to me is you're from Louisville, right?
Well, not exactly. So by Louisville standards, I'm probably not from Louisville, but my family moved here right before high school.
Okay.
So I didn't go to grade school here.
Okay.
I went to 3 months of grade school here.
Yeah. And where did you go to school? I'm going to do the Louisville thing.
In high school or middle school?
Well, usually they're talking about high school.
Yeah, high school.
I found this out the hard way when I moved here.
High school, well, I'm the only daughter of an Italian-American father, Catholic father. So I went to Sacred Heart Academy.
Oh, you're a Shaw.
I'm a Shaw girl.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to YPass.
Oh, I
really
bet.
wanted to do that.
YPass
That's one of
is
my
pretty rocking.
Yeah, I'm so bummed that didn't. That's one of my biggest Wish
Yeah.
that would have worked out. But, that's life, man.
Yeah.
So I went to Sacred Heart, and it was a pretty miserable experience.
All Catholic girls.
They did not like me. I
yeah.
did not like them.
Yeah, I hear
The
ya.
administration. There
Right,
were
yeah.
some great people there for sure. But yeah, so
Well, it's funny because when I moved to Louisville, I was already 21. So
Yeah.
I did not grow up here. I'm from Adair County, Lake Cumberland, in between Green River and Lake Cumberland, where there's one school and it's public and no gay bars, And so when I moved here, I was 21 years old and I thought, everybody kept saying, "Where'd you go to school? Where'd you go to school?"
Yeah.
And I'd be like, Adair County High School. First off, I'd be like Western Kentucky because
right, you're thinking
I thought
college.
school meant college.
Right.
And then they were like, no, high school. And I thought that was so bizarre. Why are they asking me where I went to
Right.
high school? So I would be like Adair County High School and I'd get these very strange looks like, where is that?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, why are you asking me where I went to high school? You know?
Right.
And they were like, well, there's this big competition with all these high schools here. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, gosh, there's a lot of high schools
Like, I
here.
think maybe if you're involved in like sports, which I was not.
Same.
So,
well, kind of.
you
I was, I did play some flag football in college and
Yeah.
softball most of my life, but music was my thing.
Me too. And they did not have a lot of that at the all girls
Right.
Catholic school.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Did they have soccer? Soccer seems to be a big sport around here.
I don't remember. Field hockey was a big thing, and I didn't even know what that was.
I
until
still
I
don't
moved
know what
here.
that is. What is that?
Yeah.
Is that with the nets and the ball where you run
Yeah,
like soccer?
It's yeah. I think you hit it with a stick, and
Okay, see, I don't know. See,
I mean, I think it's like hockey, but in a field. You
okay.
know, I think that's
but is the ball on the ground or in the air? Do we know?
no. The ball is on the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna have people calling in going, y'all are, you don't know what
I
you're
played
talking about.
volleyball in grade school.
I know.
You know?
You know what? I love tetherball. Tetherball is
Heck
my
yeah.
favorite. The one
Oh,
on the
man.
ball on the stick.
Yes, I had a
Yeah.
neighbor that had one of those.
Uh-huh.
Played that for hours.
Yeah, that and foosball are my thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I have a friend that's supposedly building a human foosball court.
What?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, you get a bunch of friends, and they have the long poles, and you hold on to the poles, and then it's like a kickball, and you kick it, and when the pole moves, you have to move with it with your friends. So it's literally like foosball that you
No
turn,
way.
but it's the people doing it, and you have teams, and it's whoever gets the most points in the other one's.
It kind of sounds like
goal.
somebody's going to get their arm ripped out of their socket.
Maybe. I don't know how that works, but I can't wait to watch. That's all I know.
I can't
yeah.
wait to watch people. I can't wait to see some arms ripped out of their sockets.
Oh, you crack me up. Sorry. Oh, so tell me a little bit about this I Heart Heart project, because I think that is genius and it's funny.
Yes.
And it's awesome that you're covering heart. It's heart covers, right?
It is. It's all heart covers.
Yeah.
Carly Johnson organized it a few years ago. It's been, gosh, at least like 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And, we never know if there's going to be another one. But then, we've had
They
some
keep
opportunity.
popping up,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's.
By the way, I
it's-
want Carly on the show, so you'll have to give me contacts afterwards, because
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't have a
you don't
contact
know
for her.
Carly?
I don't know her.
Girl, I'm going to. Okay.
I know. You're my hookup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you need to know these people.
Yes,
they
I
need to know
do.
you.
I agree.
So Carly, so these things have been mostly like for charity, different fundraisers and whatnot. And actually, I think isn't that a fundraiser this time too? There's Back to Mac and
Which Kim at Cantwell is in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so.
Who I'm
And-
playing with at She Castle. It all ties back in.
Yeah, and oh shoot.
We'll have to look
The
it
other-
up.
yeah,
because,
I'm gonna pull
there's
up the
a couple
information
of
about
other
that.
bands
Yeah.
on the bill, right?
Yeah.
And where
they're
is
all,
this
it's all
event?
covers. It's at Iroquois Park.
Okay, cool.
Which is super awesome. I've never played
Yeah.
at Iroquois Park before, so that's exciting.
Is that the big amphitheater thing?
It's a big amphitheater. Yep.
I have the funniest story. I cannot tell that one on record though about playing there. I
You're
played
gonna
there
get your
once.
audience all stoked.
Well,
and then
it
be like,
involves my mama,
"Eh."
and she's probably gonna kill me if I say that on record. So we won't.
Yeah, got to think about the family.
Yeah. But I did get to play there one time, and it was really a cool experience. It's an awesome stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love going to shows there.
Me too. I think I saw Brandy Carlisle, and I saw Lakeshore Drive there. Just a whole slew of amazing artists. A String Cheese Incident was just there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't been to a show there in a little while, but I'm trying to think of, I saw Lauryn Hill there.
Oh, wow.
I had
I
like
remember when
10th
she was
row
in.
seats for that. It
Yeah,
was
how was that show? Was
amazing.
that a great show?
It was great.
Wasn't she like way late or something like that? Or was there some kind of weirdness there?
It did feel like we waited a long time for the show to start.
She's
but
like a Madonna. Madonna made us wait like an hour and 15.
yeah,
Past
listen,
showtime.
whenever she shows up, she's on time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
exactly.
She's on
Lauryn Hill time.
She's on Lauryn Hill time, and when we all start making music like Lauryn Hill and having her kind of success, we can do whatever we want.
Exactly. I cover a lot of her stuff. We do up that thing, and
I love that.
Me too. A bunch of those hip hop songs.
Yeah, I played some Lauryn Hill for my daughter the other day, and she's like, "Do we have to listen to this?" And I was like, "You know what? Get out of the car right now."
Kids are very honest about what they like.
I know. I was really surprised. I would have thought she would have loved that, but I think it was because she wanted to listen to something she wanted to listen to, and I know I get that. I get that way too. You want to hear what you want to hear,
right? Well, and I obsessively listen to songs. So, I mean, if I find a song I like, I'm probably going to put it on every playlist I have multiple times.
Right.
I don't know why, but I just obsessively listen to music.
I'm sitting here trying to look up that Heart event.
Yeah, the I Heart Heart.
I Heart Heart. Yeah.
I just think, where did you get that name? Because that name is so cool.
Carly.
I Heart Heart.
Carly.
That's great.
She's got such a great sense of humor. I Heart Heart. Yeah. That was. I think that. Pretty sure that was her idea.
That's a great. And even on the flyer, it's like the little heart.
Yes.
It's like the logo is even cool.
Yep.
And then I thought, what
cute.
is that? Because at first when I saw it, I thought it was something to do with iHeartRadio, which it was not. It was actually a Heart cover band, which was, I thought, pretty genius. So.
Yeah. And then there's the band. I mean, the musicians in the band are all like incredible people.
Yeah.
Craig Wagner is always the guitar player for it. Jeremy Johnson plays guitar in it as well. We've had a couple different bass players, a couple different drummers. But it's always, I mean, she always gets pretty amazing people to play and switches
she
up
is
the
playing
vocal.
Forecastle, isn't she?
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Her project's playing. Yeah, her original project is playing.
I've heard about her for many years. I have yet to run into her though in the scene, so I'm really excited that you've got a contact.
Yeah, she did. I mean, it was just this like about a year ago, I think, that she put out her original record, which that would be cool to play too. It's not a rock record.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Totally
you brought
her.
in all kinds of cool stuff, so we need to get some on.
Yeah. But before that, I think she did. Her and Craig did a lot of jazz stuff.
Yeah.
They still do a lot of jazz stuff.
She's known as a jazz artist in town.
Yeah, but she put out her own original record.
Well, I tell you
and
what,
it's amazing.
Let's spin some heart, and then we can come out of it talking about that event, and then by then you'll have time to find it.
All right, sounds good.
I'm going to go ahead and spin some Magic Man, because that's one of my all-time favorites.
He's a magic man, Mama.
It's Heart on LRS102.com, The Walrus. You're locked on to Jyneration Nation, LRS102.com, The Walrus. I am here with Natalie Felker. Nat, you're about to do this whole Heart tribute, I Heart Heart.
Yes.
We were just talking about it. Tell us about it.
Okay, so the concert is actually called The Concert That Never Was 2, and it's going to have Back to Mac, which is a tribute to Fleetwood Mac. Then there's going to be I Heart Heart and Steely Danish, a Steely Dan cover band.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it's going to be at Iroquois Amphitheater on Sunday, August 25th. And doors are at 4:30, show at 5:30, $10 for uncovered seats, $20 for covered seats. Yeah.
That's super
Hopefully it's going to be nice and hot and no rain.
Yeah. You never want rain, although that's covered, isn't it?
Most of it's covered. Most of it's covered, but there are some uncovered seats.
Yeah.
So, but rain never lasts
we
that
have
long
had
in the
so
summer.
much rain in Louisville. I mean, not in the past week, but I mean, it seemed like before that for a month straight it rained.
It did. Yeah, I know. I was just saying it doesn't ever last that long in the summer, but it did. It did last that long.
It did. I know, and I'm over it. I'm kind of glad it's hot, but we always want. I miss LA for that reason, for the weather.
Yeah.
It's
God,
like perfect
California
in
weather,
70
man.
every day.
I know.
It's beautiful.
If we could all only afford to live in California.
I know, right? So tell me about, do you have any other gigs coming up? You were telling me on your birthday or right before your birthday.
It's the day before my birthday. So the present you all can give me is just by showing up to the show. But the Fervor is going to play with Fool's Ghost.
Cool.
Which is Nick and Amber Thienemann's band.
Okay.
Another married couple making music together.
Love it.
And it's just a 2-band bill, and we're playing at Kaiju on Saturday, August 17th.
You need to send me an invite to that. Make sure I'm reminded, because I love kaiju.
Yeah. Kaiju or kaiju?
Kaiju. I'm not for sure.
Yeah.
It's the old Lisa's Oak Street Lounge, as Louisville would say.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Down in like Germantown area.
Yep. It's
East St. Catherine? Or is it Oak? It's Oak Street, technically.
It's Oak, and well, Ellison dead ends to that. I don't know if it's technically called Ellison there, though. It changes to something else.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It does that little curvy curve around that stop sign.
Yeah, Germantown.
Right. Yeah, you got to love Germantown. I used to live all up back in that area, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, right off of Ellison.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Germantown. It's so interesting because you've got your Highlands, and we were just talking about how you can walk out of one bar and into the next bar, and it's a completely different scene, literally across the street. Germantown is kind of the same way, but it's more scattered. It's like, there's a bar every 4 blocks or something like that, and they're all different. They've got great eateries over there.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. Ben and I live over in Schnitzelburg, which is right there.
The corner of Germantown, basically.
Right, yeah.
The more German area.
The more German area.
You've got your Germans, Germantown, and you got the Schnitzelburg
The
Germans.
Schnitzelburg Germans. And we bought a house there about 11 years ago, and the neighborhood has changed so much. There's so much more stuff open there, which is great. I like being able to walk to places. It's a dream come true.
That's what I loved about it, too. You can walk anywhere, and I mean, an Uber is like $5 or $6.
Yeah, when Ben and I came back to the area after IU, we lived in Charlestown, Indiana for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And, it takes like 30 minutes to get everywhere we had to go. So it still isn't lost on me.
Cool,
like,
man.
hey, I can walk here.
Yeah.
It took me 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's good for you to walk. We need to walk more. Anytime I can walk, I need to. I want to remind you to stick around because Nat's going to be in the studio with us for the rest of the time. And then we've also got LA female lead guitarist Janet Robin getting ready to call in here in just a few to tell us about her projects and what's going on. But also, I want to remind everybody that LRS102.com and Floyd County Brewing Company will present the summer concert series that's starting July 12th. Live music starts at 8 p.m. with Kissing Aphrodite and the Whiskey Riders. Plus, LRS will be getting people registered for free VIP Bourbon and Beyond tickets. Other dates in the series include August 3rd and August 31st. The drawing for the VIP Bourbon and Beyond tickets will be held at 1 p.m. I think it says 1. I did this yesterday. It might say 11 p.m. on August 31st. You're listening to LRS102.com, The Walrus. We are broadcasting live from the Launch Louisville studios, and we're Louisville's rock stream. We're going to kick it in with some Queen. All right, that was Julie and the Wolves here on WLRS102.com. I am Jyn Yates. You're listening to Jyneration Nation. I have Natalie Felker in the studio, but now online on the phone lines, we have Janet Robin, LA female guitarist extraordinaire. Janet, are you there with us?
Wow, that's quite an introduction. That's a lot of adjectives before my name.
No kidding, right? Janet, I had the pleasure of working with you out in L.A., and you're one of my favorite female lead guitar players. I mean, you're just amazing, really are.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm so happy to have you calling in on the show today because you always have something going on.
I try to keep busy. That is true.
Yeah, you're like me. You're a Virgo. I remember. We like.
Oh,
to
you too. That's right.
Yeah, we like to stay busy. Remember, our birthdays are very close.
It's true. You are correct.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
So,
we're a little weird like that.
Yeah, we're a little, Virgos tend to be a little strange sometimes,
Yeah.
you know. Hey, I do want to educate our listeners on what you've done in your past, and then we'll talk about what you're doing currently. But you are a female lead guitar player, but you also do a lot of other cool stuff. But you studied under Randy Rhoads, the famous lead guitar player. Yeah, and tell us a little bit about that, just so people, because we are a rock station, so we spin some of his stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, well, if people aren't familiar with his name, he was actually first the guitar player in Quiet Riot, but then he got snatched out of that band by Mr. Ozzy Osbourne and became Ozzy's guitar player and wrote a lot of his hits, for example, Crazy Train.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he was in Ozzy's band for a couple of years, and there was a tragic private plane accident, and he perished in that accident at a very young age, but his influence on the guitar playing world was massive and still is.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I'm grateful for my tutelage from him. I was one of the only female students he had at the time. We're talking, what, late 1970s. I'm old, you know. I think I started with him 1977 until they got the gig in like 81 with Ozzy. So it was a good portion of my young life, age 9 until about age 14, 15.
Wow.
And yeah.
That always blew my mind, because when I was growing up, I actually had that poster in one of my aunt's bedrooms.
Oh,
that
really?
I stayed at a lot. Yeah, it was the one where Ozzy's holding him up with his guitar that's so famous.
Yeah,
I had
tribute.
that, and I used to look at, the tribute, right? And I used to just stare at it all the time and be like, rock and roll, man, because I was a rocker, you know, from a kid. And
Right.
I loved Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath and everything in between. And his playing was just immaculate and such a loss to the music world, man. Just
Huge. Yeah, and such a great person too. I mean, he really, you know, honestly, he helped form my self-esteem. I have to be honest with you. You know, I was a young girl. I had 2 older brothers who, you know, used to slap me around. You know, and I just was looking for something to feel good about, you know. And once I found the guitar, I was like, oh, I'm pretty good at this. I like this. And he just was so encouraging to me. He never treated me anything different, you know, from a male student, for example, or any of his older students. I was also his youngest student. So, you know, he just was like, you got to practice and you got to do this and that. And he was just so encouraging to me.
Yeah.
And it literally helped form my self-esteem growing up as a young girl in rock and roll.
That's so amazing, Janet. And I can totally tell that you studied under him, because you just got that like 70s, 80s lead player attitude and skill.
I appreciate that. You know, definitely when you hear some of my solos and maybe some of my riffs and some of my own songs, you can hear his influence. I will never attest to be, you know, the player that Randy was, but he absolutely influenced my playing. And you know, the way he would approach things anyway was always, I don't want you to sound like me. You know, I'm going to show you the skills you need to know, and then you're going to make your own style, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what he always wanted out of all of his students. And he was very dedicated to teaching as well. The last time I saw him was in between Ozzy tours. He came home. He had like, I don't know, a few months off. I saw him one last time. Because he taught his students during his time off.
Wow.
And that was the last time I saw him. But I didn't play at his funeral. I was in school. My mom wouldn't let me go. It was, you know, complicated. I ended up playing actually at his mother's funeral.
Okay.
Who was very influential in his life as well, and she kept kind of his spirit alive after he passed away. I became closer to the family. Basically, you know, he taught out of a music school that was literally around the corner from my parents' house. So we were all in the neighborhood, you know, and I just stayed close to them after he passed away. And, you know, later in my life, when I got signed to a label and was in various bands and, you know, continuing my career as a musician, his mother just was so kind to me. And I think she was proud, you know.
Yeah.
I think she felt proud of me, and I would come visit her and just say, look what your son did, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to give her some comfort, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So Janet, you also went on to like tour with all kinds of cool people. You have your own bands. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know, in a short capsule, after my studies with Randy and after he passed away, I got in an all-female rock band called Precious Metal.
Oh yes, that's right, Precious Metal. Yeah.
Right, and we had a few record deals on Capitol, Polygram. We toured all over about 6 years, and this is the height of the 80s, so there was really only a few other all-female rock bands, one of them being Vixen. right?
You know,
We were,
I had the lead, the drummer from Fanny on the other day. Do you know who they
uh-huh.
are?
Yeah, of course. Bree Howard is a friend of mine.
Okay, so Alice DeBurr was on the show, the drummer, talking about all their experiences, and she was amazing. Talking about
Well,
smoking hash with Keith, with Keith Moon covered their
oh,
songs,
sure.
and she recorded at Apple Studios on Ringo's drums. It was pretty crazy.
So she was the first drummer in Fanny. The second one after her was a woman named Bree Howard.
Right.
So there were two drummers. But yeah, I'm friends with all the girls in Fanny.
That's cool. Go ahead about the
They
Precious.
were first. They were first. You
Yeah.
know, they were the first one because they were in the 70s.
Yeah.
So they were way before the Runaways
Precious
as
Metal.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she said she actually helped form and worked the Go-Go's shows and stuff like that to get them
Oh,
off the
sure.
ground.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about the history of female bands, there's not, you can literally count them on your fingers, which is another interview. But
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
but yeah, so quickly, I just, I had my experience with Precious Metal. After that, I became basically a hired touring musician, and I was lucky enough to audition for Lindsey Buckingham. He's the guitar player from Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
And he was doing a solo project. He'd never toured solo. He put his first band together, and he had a lot of guitar players in the band. It was like a guitar army. And that was yet again another mentor for me and another education. I liken my time in Lindsey Buckingham's band as like getting my graduate degree, kind of like that, or maybe my PhD. I don't know.
Yeah, I would think that was probably a pretty good idea. I mean, he's one of the best.
Yeah, he's a very underrated guitar player in the world. He doesn't get enough recognition as an actual player, but of course he's an amazing singer, amazing songwriter, producer, and a great entertainer. And I just learned just so much from him. And again, he was also encouraging, and he became a little bit more of a mentor to me. I decided to break out on my own, and he encouraged that. He would listen to my demos. He would critique my songwriting. I mean, that's pretty good, So
Well, yeah.
I felt honored, that he took a interest in that. And I continue to do a few more side things, but I basically started my own solo project, singing, songwriting, touring on my own, acoustic. I took the road of Ani DeFranco. I kind of was influenced by her. Like, get out, book your own shit, get out there. Oh, can I say that on the
of course you can. And we have
on the air?
You'll love this, Janet, because we bypass FCC regulations here because we're streaming live. Yeah, but listen to this. We have a cuss jar here. I'm going to put some money in there for you. And then at the end of every month, we donate it off to charity. So we cuss for a cause.
Oh, excellent.
Excellent. So I'll donate
fuck
you.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll throw you a couple bucks up in there.
Well, yeah. So anyway, Ani DeFranco, is just amazing, and I just really was inspired by her getting out there and doing it on your own. You didn't need a label. You didn't need an agency. So I did that and started racking up some fans and really getting a feel for what it was like to be on my own and do my own stuff, play my own music, and connect to audiences that way. And I've been doing that ever since. And in between, I've gotten other gigs. I played with Meredith Brooks, who, sang
Bitch.
Remember that song? Yeah, Bitch.
We'll put another. I like a lot of her tracks, actually, more so than that one, but I'll put another dollar in the jug for you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
We're up to $3 for charity.
I love that.
Yeah.
And just other bands, Michelle Shock, Air Supply, and then session work in between.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Air Supply. I love those stories in L.A. when you told me about all that.
Yeah.
My mom was in love with them.
They're great guys. Yeah, they're great guys. That was like one of my bigger last touring gigs as a side musician. I really, after that gig, I was like, you know what, I just want to focus mostly on my own stuff. And I took it to Europe, and I've been doing pretty well in Europe. It's a whole other market over there. So for the past 10 years, most of my touring has actually been in Europe. So I've been doing that. Some regional in certain areas of the U.S. I continue touring. And I started another project called the String Revolution, which is all instrumental, all acoustic, only guitars. It's 4 guitar players, and we kind of use our guitars in unique ways. We don't only strum, we kind of bang on them. You would appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Percussive
Absolutely.
type stuff.
And we're going to actually spin some String Revolution here in just a little bit because you sent us some tracks. Yeah.
Yes. I've been focusing on that this past year because we put out a new record. We have a new single, a new arrangement of Rocket Man, inspired by the movie. And,
super cool.
Yeah, so we're starting to tour a little bit, starting to get out there. So between my solo project, that band, and some session work, as it is, it's funny. I'm actually recording some guitar for the woman who wrote "Bitch" with Meredith Brooks, Shelley Piken.
Yeah,
she's putting out her own record of her hits that she's written, and she's putting out her own versions. And so I've been playing guitar for her on that record. So that's pretty cool. And I'm just, in between teaching and enjoying the California sun. So there you go.
Awesome. Yeah, because you're somewhere right there in Hollywood, right?
I'm
or is it Beverly Hills?
Yeah. You know what they call it? They call it Beverly Hills adjacent.
Oh, I love that, Beverly Hills adjacent. I just remember when I went out there for the first time, I went to Rodeo just shopping on my own.
Right.
I walked into the store, and of course, I'm a country girl from like 2,600 people, never seen stuff like that. And then I go in, and I love telling this story. And there was a pair of jeans there, and I was like, man, those look so cool. And I walk in, the price tag was like $20,000.
$20,000.
And I was like, I'm in the wrong place.
Well, yeah, I know.
So I went to the vintage thrift stores instead.
So the trick here in LA, this is the trick, because I, of course, don't hang out at the Beverly Hills shops.
Right, yeah. Nor would I if I was out there.
The trick in LA is to live next door to a nice area. So, like I'm literally 1 block from, my place is like right behind the the Beverly Hills line. So like there's one street that separates the LA zip code from the Beverly Hills zip code, and literally that one street, one side of the street, the Beverly Hills side of the street, is paved like super clean and soft and flat, and the LA side is a piece of shit with cracks all over, literally on the same street.
I love that. I know. Well, I remember going to Beverly Hills and seeing that, and it was like not too far down the street is Skid Row.
Right.
So it's like the complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah.
I know. We're a big city, and we've got all these little pockets. So I found a nice little niche out here, and I've been here a long time. And of course, I'm born and raised in LA, so it's my town.
Exactly. It is your town, man. And I'm glad you were out there, because when I got to come out there, you kind of showed me the ropes around, and it was an honor to get to play with you and girlfriend. And ever
likewise.
Since,
wasn't that fun? That was
my
such
gosh,
a fun gig.
It was the coolest gig ever. And we actually talked to Vivi Rama, our bass player, yesterday. And I'm trying to get Julie Wolf on the show, of course. So, stay tuned.
Well, we should tell your listeners. Basically, there was a musical that was being played at a very nice theater out here in Culver City, and the music director Julie Wolf put us all together, and we were the band on stage, and they wanted an all-girl band, so we got all rounded up, and that's how I met you.
Right, yeah. That was my first time in California, too, ever.
Love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
That was such a cool experience. They flew me out, and then I lived right there off Washington Street near Venice Beach, so I could literally walk to Venice Beach every day, and they gave me a car.
Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
Not a bad gig. Not a bad first experience in LA as a musician either.
There you go.
And I remember, we were at the Kirk Douglas Theater there, so I was getting to park in his personal parking spot, which was pretty rad, off the side of the theater there. And, not only was it great shows and a great run, but we also, there were some cool people that showed up to watch the show that I got to meet.
Oh, that's
right. Awesome, yeah. Courtney Love was there. Yeah.
That's right.
Remember Bruce Valant showed up, and of course
I do.
Michelle Shocked for you. And is it Bonnie Hayes? The
No. So I invited Michelle Shocked. She came, but I'm also friends with the guitar player from the Bangles.
That's right.
That's who you met.
Debbie Peterson?
No,
Or
Vicky.
Vicky Peterson. Aren't they sisters? I always get that
They
confused.
are.
Yeah.
They
So
are
Vicky
sisters.
Peterson showed up from the Bengals, and
Right,
watched the
right.
show. And I also remember, I think it was Bonnie Hayes that showed up with Vicky Randall. And Bonnie is the main songwriting professor at Berklee School of Music, and she wrote
wow.
Love Letter and a bunch of Bonnie Raitt's hits.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, in
I
fact,
didn't know that.
Melissa
I did not
Farrick
know
actually
that.
works under her.
Oh,
Also,
wow.
if you know who Melissa Farrick is, she's big in the women's music
Yes,
scene.
of course. I've done a lot of tours with Melissa.
Oh,
I,
cool.
a lot of opening spots for her. And
it's funny. I met her at a stage in Michigan, and somebody had sent me under the big stage to like go get beer. And I'll never forget it. The beer was Purple Haze, and they were like, "Yeah, go get me a Purple Haze out of the cooler." And I was like, "Well, I'll crawl under the stage while they're performing on top." And so I crawl out the other side, and I look up, and there stands Melissa Farrick, and she was like, "Hi, who are you?" Because it was in a.
Why are you crawling on the ground?
Right, with a cold beer in your hand, right? Yeah. It looked like I was trying to steal it, but I really wasn't.
Of course.
Yeah, but that's how I met her. How funny, right?
Yeah. She's cool. Yeah. I had a good time touring with her as well.
Yeah. Well, Janet, if people want to check in on your gigs, tell them where they can go.
Well, obviously, there's just our websites. That would be janetrobin.com. And my name is spelled JANETROBIN.
Mm-hmm.
And then for my other band, the String Revolution, it's just how it sounds, thestringrevolution.com. And there's tons of stuff on YouTube. So that's always a good way. You can hear stuff, you can see live videos. And we're all over Spotify. Actually, String Revolution is doing really well on Spotify. We're like 700,000 or 800,000 streams.
Wow, that's a feat in itself.
It is. We have a version of Billie Jean, an arrangement we did of that. And,
cool.
Yeah, that's been just doing really well on Spotify.
Man, that's one of those songs that I've covered for years. It doesn't matter where you play it. That bass line just makes people dance. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
So I can't wait to hear your version of it. Super cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send you the link to the video. Then you can kind of see how we do it.
Sure, I would love that.
Yes.
Well, Janet, keep it rocking. I'm so glad I met you along my journey. I love that you called into LRS102.com, The Walrus. You're in support of Jyneration Nation. We're a rock and roll station. You probably don't know this. We're a rock and roll station that's been around since 1964. That,
oh my God!
When Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and Zeppelin were breaking, we were breaking those artists before.
And where are you located?
We're located in Louisville, Kentucky, man.
Love it.
Yeah, streaming downtown.
I got to get out there, man.
Yeah.
Get out there.
Anytime you come, I got you here. Yeah, and you'd love it here. It's kind of like a little Seattle, a little Austin-ish. It's very creative, and we're like the liberal blue circle and the dot crazy of red. And yeah, we really are. And we have one of the top. I think we're 11th top in the LGBT population here.
Wow.
In the country. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah, because we're like crazy. A hub. The cool thing about Louisville is we're about 6 to 8 hours from almost every major city on the East Coast. So Chicago is 6 hours. You can be to Memphis in 6. You can be to Nashville in 3.
You're in a good area.
Yeah, we're a hub basically for all the major cities on the East Coast.
Well, that's great. I really hope to make it out there. I've played in the South before, and I love playing out there. The thing about the South is that you guys really appreciate instrumentalists. You grow up on really good
on some bluegrass Appalachian stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd love to make it out there. But yeah, thank you so much for thinking of me, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been an honor to have you on. I love your stories about Randy Rhoads and everything else. And you take care out there on the road. Our listeners, if they want to check in, they can do so by checking out, Janet Robin online, The String Revolution, and we're going to spin some of your stuff here in a minute. So you take care out there in LA and hold it down for us.
Love it, girl.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, Janet.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Nat, you're still here in the studio with us. What do you think about Janet? She is cool, right?
She
what
is
a story.
Super cool. Yes.
Can you believe that when I went to LA, like they were like, "Oh, you're in a band with this chick, and then you're in a band with this awesome bass player too, Vivi Rama, who had toured with everybody." But Janet was just, she can shred like no other. And I don't know if you remember Precious Metal, but her all female band, like in the 80s, I think, late 70s, early 80s. So they were kind of like pioneers in their own right, you know, in women's music. It's crazy how, you know, all these people's paths, they've done such cool stuff. And then all of a sudden you find yourself working with them.
Yeah.
And the worst part is when a project comes to an end, you got to say goodbye. And it's like you've made family with these musicians.
Yeah.
And then, but thank goodness for the internet, because we can actually keep in touch nowadays.
Yeah,
you know
that is
what I
one
mean?
good thing about the internet. That's the one good thing.
Exactly. The
Maybe
one
the
good
one
thing,
good
right?
thing.
I know. I was talking about the other day, like, you know, the Dixie Chicks just announced that they've got a new record coming out. Well, my dumb ass went and read the comments, which I shouldn't have done.
Oh, you never
know,
read
and
the
then I'm always like,
comments. Yeah.
Yeah.
That just destroys all faith in humanity.
Yes, it does. I have learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like one of those that I don't put up with a whole lot, like, online. So
That's one
I'm
of my
like,
favorite things about you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm very outspoken sometimes, and a little testy at times, but only I feel like, you know, in my own right. But my theory is, you only get 5,000 friends on Facebook. I don't know if you know this, but you can't go over 5,000. And if you do go
I
over
didn't know
5,000,
that.
where you were just asking me, you said, you've got 2 pages. Which one do I like? And I was like, you can only like one because you're on my other one. But let's say you weren't. You can't. If you go to add me, it says, sorry, she has reached her max of 5,000 friends. So after 5,000, you have to start an artist page.
Yeah.
And then you can get over the 5,000, which is silly to me because I just want to run one page, you know?
Yeah.
But
You got to do an artist page, though.
yeah, I did the artist page, but the downfall is I try to like update it every now and then, but it's extra work.
Yeah.
But
And
so
it's
my
hard to
theory is if somebody's giving me a lot of flack, then I just get rid of them because I need the space on the 5,000. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's kind of my. And then I'm like, if they want to add me back, they can add back the artist page.
Oh, yeah. Man, people send me friend requests, and I'm like, who are you? What do you want from me?
Exactly.
I got a kid.
Exactly.
I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, and
I'm like,
you know,
you're a Louisville musician? Okay, that's cool. You're just some random dude? No.
Man, when I sit back and I look at the 5,000, though, I'm like, I've met pretty much all of them at some point, or they followed me because of Bev or something like that,
Right.
somebody I toured with. But most all of them I know, and most all of them are great musicians. I mean,
Yeah.
Janet's one of them, you know what I mean? And when I look back, I've got like Dawn Richardson of the 49 Blondes. I've got the chicks from Betty who had the hit theme with the L Word theme song, you know.
Wow.
Julie Wolfe, who toured with Ani DeFranco, and Melissa Ferrick, you know, all these like really cool women artists on my feed that I'm just like, wow, I worked with all of those, and it's so cool. Every now and then they'll come and pop in and leave you a little something.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh yeah, you know, I
Yeah.
love them. Yeah,
That's
so-
legit.
Yeah, so when I got the show, I just started like, oh, who are all these female, you know, or not just female, because I've got guys coming in too. By the
Right.
way, tomorrow we've got Sean Wallace, the lead singer of Soul Circus, coming in, so that's going to be a cool show. And also Dan Schneider, who runs Drum Talk TV, is coming in, which is a very
Awesome.
famous drum internet TV site based in Vegas. So all week we've got I've had the coolest interviews.
Yeah. You've got a lot of great connections.
I really do.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't think I did until you sit back and go, yeah, man, I've done a lot of stuff. One thing is I never had kids, you know, so literally played music my whole life as much as possible. I've always been in 2 or 3 bands, you know, original and cover, and done theater and stuff like that.
Well, and you're easy to talk to. You're
thank
a
you.
good person to talk to.
Thank you. Well, it's been awesome having you. I know you've got to run and get your daughter
I
here in a
do,
little bit.
yep.
And tell us again, where will you be playing? All the projects you're involved in, you know, how can people get a hold of you if they want to like check out your work, you know, stuff like that.
You can get a hold of me at 1-900.
867-5309. That's the number I give.
I like a Leo. I like long walks on the beach, quiet evenings
Hey,
at
you know what
home.
I do though? If somebody comes up to me and wants a number that I don't want to, I give them my ex's phone number.
So rude.
I do, and I say, ask for Jyn.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
It is. You know, I like comedy.
Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
you.
I love you back.
So I play in the Fervor. We're playing at Kaiju on August 17th with Fool's Ghost. I'm also playing with I Heart Heart, the Heart cover band, at Iroquois Amphitheater on August 25th. And yeah, check it out.
Cool. I want to come to I'd love to come to both of them, but I definitely want to come to the one at Caju for your birthday.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
I might make some
me.
cupcakes or something.
Please do. Well, I should make you cupcakes. It's your birthday.
No, I like to bake for everybody.
I'll make them fun cupcakes.
Oh. It'll be a really slow show.
No, everybody will be passed out.
Things just got really weird.
Well, Natalie, it's awesome having you in.
Thanks for having
today.
me, Jyn.
Thank you for bringing in the cool vinyl. I forgot to say we spent some. Is it Julie of the Wolves?
Yeah, Julie of the Wolves
earlier,
Louisville
Louisville
band. Yep.
Yeah,
Louisville Zone.
Yeah, and if anybody knows Louisville and the original music scene here, it's you. You've got so many connections with that. Even connections I don't even have.
Oh man, I don't even feel like I have that many, but there's a lot of people that need to know you.
I hope so. And if you know of anybody who is a great interview, like the Carly Johnson chick, anybody that you're involved in the original music scene that you think would be a really cool interview, you just send them my way because I'd love to interview.
There's a lot of good people out there for sure.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate you coming in and talking with us on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. That was Natalie Felker of the Fervor. And we just recently talked to Janet Robbins, so we're going to spin some Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train in honor of Randy Rhoads.